Long before fast food and fancy kitchens, the first Americans were cooking with the land, harvesting, hunting, and crafting meals that nourished body and spirit alike. Every dish told a story of tribe, season, and survival. From smoky cedar plank salmon to the comforting taste of fry bread, native recipes connect us to centuries of tradition and wisdom passed through generations. So gather round the fire. It's time to rediscover 30 Native American recipes you'll wish you knew sooner. Number 1. Fry bread. Fry bread is more than food, it's history on a plate. Born from hardship when Native families were given only flour, sugar, and lard, they turned those rations into golden, fluffy rounds of bread fried over open flame. Crispy on the outside and soft inside, it's now a symbol of resilience and community. Served plain, with honey, or topped with beans and meat, fry bread remains a powerful reminder of survival and strength through every bite. Number 2. Three Sisters Stew. Three Sisters Stew celebrates the heart of native agriculture, corn, beans, and squash. These three crops were grown together, supporting and nourishing one another, just as they did the people who planted them. Simmered slowly with herbs and sometimes a bit of venison or wild onions, the stew is rich, earthy, and deeply satisfying. More than a meal, it's a symbol of harmony, showing how balance and respect for the land create true abundance. Number 3. Bison stew. Bison stew was a staple across the Great Plains. Slow cooked over a fire, tender chunks of bison simmered with root vegetables, wild herbs, and a hint of smoke from the open flame. Lean, rich, and packed with flavor, it provided strength for long days of work and travel. This dish wasn't just sustenance. It was a celebration of the buffalo's sacred place in native life and survival. Number 4. Cedar plank salmon. For the coastal tribes of the Pacific Northwest, salmon was life, and cedar plank salmon was an art. Freshly caught fish was laid on soaked cedar boards, seasoned with herbs, and slow roasted over an open flame. The wood infused the meat with a smoky, aromatic flavor that couldn't be replicated any other way. Shared in feasts and ceremonies, this dish honored both the salmon's gift and the balance between people, fire, and the natural world. Number 5. Corn pudding. Corn pudding, a traditional Wampanoag dish, blended simplicity with sweetness. Fresh corn was grated and mixed with milk, eggs, and a touch of maple sugar, then baked until golden and custardy. It was often served during harvest celebrations, symbolizing gratitude for a successful growing season. Soft, warm, and rich with natural sweetness, corn pudding connected families to the earth's abundance, a comforting reminder that even the humblest ingredients could bring deep satisfaction and joy. Number 6. Wild rice with cranberries and mushrooms. From the lakes of the Great Lakes region came a treasured Ojibwe dish, wild rice with cranberries and mushrooms. Hand-harvested from canoes, wild rice was toasted, then simmered until tender, its nutty aroma filling the air. Mixed with tart cranberries and earthy mushrooms, it became a perfect balance of flavors and textures. This dish wasn't just food, it was heritage, a gift from the water and forests that sustained native people for generations. Number 7. Blue corn pancakes. A southwestern favorite, blue corn pancakes bring color, flavor, and history to the plate. Made from finely ground blue cornmeal, a sacred ingredient among the Hopi and Navajo, these pancakes are slightly nutty, tender, and naturally beautiful. Traditionally cooked on a hot stone or griddle, they were often drizzled with honey or agave. More than breakfast, blue corn pancakes are a celebration of the Southwest's landscape, vibrant, nourishing, and rooted in tradition. Number 8. Acorn mush. Acorn mush was a staple for many California tribes, turning the land's bounty into nourishment. After gathering acorns, they were shelled, ground into meal, and carefully rinsed to remove bitterness. The result was simmered into a thick, earthy porridge, sometimes sweetened with berries or honey, sometimes savory with herbs. Acorn mush was humble yet sustaining, a perfect example of native ingenuity. Number 9. Smoked trout with juniper berries. High in the mountain regions, tribes perfected the art of smoking trout, often seasoning it with crushed juniper berries for a piney, aromatic flavor. The fish was cleaned, rubbed with salt and herbs, then slow smoked over smoldering wood until tender and fragrant. The result was rich, savory, and beautifully preserved. Ideal for travel or winter storage. Number 10. Indian tacos. Indian tacos are a delicious blend of tradition and adaptation. Fry bread topped with seasoned beans, ground meat, lettuce, cheese, and sometimes salsa. Born from resourcefulness during hard times, this dish turned government-issued rations into something flavorful and filling. Today, it's a powwow favorite, shared at gatherings and celebrations across native communities. Number 11. Pemmican. Pemmican was the original power food, portable, nutrient-dense, and built for survival. Made by tribes like the Lakota and Cree, it combined dried bison meat, rendered fat, and berries into compact cakes that could last for months. Hunters, travelers, and warriors carried it across vast plains and through harsh winters. Sweet, savory, and sustaining, pemmican wasn't just food. It was a lifeline, proof of how indigenous ingenuity shaped endurance itself. Number 12. Wild rice and mushroom soup. Harvested by hand from northern lakes, wild rice has long been sacred to the Ojibwe and other Great Lakes tribes. In this comforting soup, the earthy grain mingles with foraged mushrooms, onions, herbs, and a touch of broth. Simple yet rich in flavor. Traditionally cooked over an open flame, the aroma alone could warm a winter lodge. Each spoonful is a taste of the forest, grounding, nourishing, and deeply tied to the land. Number 13. Venison jerky. Venison jerky was the perfect trail food, lean, long-lasting, and packed with energy. Native hunters would slice deer meat thin, season it with salt or wild herbs, and dry it slowly over smoky fires or in the sun. The process preserved precious protein for the winter and for long journeys. Every strip told a story of patience, skill, and respect for the hunt, a reminder that nothing taken from the land was ever wasted. Number 14. Succotash. Succotash was a colorful blend of corn, beans, and squash, the three sisters working in perfect harmony. First, made by the Narragansett people, it was a symbol of cooperation between tribes and the land. Cooked with a bit of fat or herbs, it was hearty, nourishing, and endlessly adaptable. When European settlers adopted it, they changed the flavor, but the soul of the dish remained purely native, balanced, sustaining, and deeply communal. Number 15. Hominy soup. Hominy soup, or nixtamalized corn stew, was a cornerstone of many native diets, especially among the Pueblo and Cherokee. The corn was soaked in lye or ash water to unlock its nutrients, then simmered with beans, squash, or bits of meat. The result was a rich, slightly smoky broth that filled bellies and strengthened bodies. More than a meal, it was medicine, a reminder that true nourishment begins with respect for the earth's gifts. Number 16. Cornmeal dumplings. Cornmeal dumplings were the heart of many native soups and stews, simple, filling, and comforting. Made from ground corn, water, and sometimes a touch of fat, they were dropped into simmering broths until tender. The dumplings soaked up every bit of flavor, while adding warmth and texture to the pot. Born from practicality and patience, they turned humble ingredients into a hearty meal, reflecting the native value of making the most of every harvest. Number 17. Wild berry wojapi. Wojapi is a thick, luscious berry sauce cherished by plains tribes like the Lakota and Dakota. Traditionally made with chokecherries, blueberries, or juneberries, the fruit was cooked down slowly until it thickened into a deep, rich preserve, sometimes sweetened with honey or left tart. Served with fry bread or meat, it was both food and celebration. Number 18. Maple glazed roasted squash. Maple glazed roasted squash was a cherished autumn dish among northeastern tribes. Using native winter squash, slices were roasted over open fires and brushed with pure maple syrup, a sacred gift from the trees. The natural sweetness caramelized beautifully, creating a tender, golden side dish that symbolized balance between earth and sky. Number 19. Acorn bread. Acorn bread was a staple for tribes like the Miwok and Yurok, who relied on the oak's bounty each fall. The acorns were shelled, ground, and leached in water to remove bitterness. then mixed with cornmeal or flour and baked on hot stones or in clay ovens. Dense, nutty, and nourishing, this bread sustained communities through long winters. Every loaf represented patience, tradition, and the deep understanding of how to live in rhythm with the land. 20. Smoked trout. Smoked trout was a prized food among mountain and river tribes, from the Shoshone to the Nez Perce. Freshly caught fish were cleaned, brined with salt and herbs, then hung over smoldering wood for hours until smoky, tender, and preserved for travel. The process not only enhanced flavor, but also honored the fish's spirit, wasting nothing. Whether eaten plain or flaked into stews, smoked trout was a gift from the rivers, rich with tradition. Number 21. Cactus fruit jam. Cactus fruit jam, often made from prickly pears, was a desert treasure for tribes like the Navajo and Apache. The vibrant magenta fruit was harvested carefully, peeled, and cooked down with a touch of honey or agave until thick and glossy. Sweet, tart, and packed with vitamins, it brightened meals during lean months. Spread on corn cakes or eaten by the spoonful, this jam captured the sun's warmth and the resilience of life in the desert. Number 22. Blue corn pancakes. Blue corn pancakes were a southwestern staple, especially among the Hopi and Navajo. Made from finely ground blue cornmeal, water, and a touch of honey, these pancakes carried a subtle sweetness and a nutty depth. Cooked on hot griddles or stones, they took on a beautiful purple-blue hue that reflected the sacred color of corn. Number 23. Elk roast. Elk roast was a feast day favorite among tribes of the Northern Plains and Rockies. Large cuts of elk were rubbed with wild herbs, juniper, and salt, then roasted slowly over open flames or in earthen pits until tender and fragrant. The meat's deep flavor and lean texture made it both nourishing and ceremonial. Shared among families after successful hunts, elk roast symbolized strength, respect for nature, and the sacred relationship between hunter, prey, and spirit. Number 24. Corn and wild rice casserole. Corn and wild rice casserole blended two sacred staples of native cuisine, maize from the fields and rice from the northern lakes. Mixed with herbs, onions, and sometimes a touch of maple syrup or berries, it was baked until fragrant and golden. This dish united flavors from different regions, often appearing at gatherings and harvest feasts. Warm, hearty, and beautifully textured, it celebrated both cooperation among tribes and the bounty gifted by the land. Number 25. Venison chili. Venison chili was a hearty, spicy stew enjoyed by tribes and settlers alike, especially during cold months. Ground or cubed deer meat was simmered slowly with beans, corn, wild onions, and fiery native peppers. Each bowl delivered smoky heat and deep, earthy flavor, perfect after a long hunt. Unlike modern chili, it relied on natural ingredients from the land, not store-bought spices. Every pot was proof that simplicity and patience make the richest meals. Number 26. Pine nut porridge. Pine nut porridge was a creamy, sustaining dish enjoyed by tribes of the Great Basin, like the Shoshone and Paiute. Made by grinding foraged pine nuts into meal and simmering them with water or milkweed sap, it created a nutty, hearty breakfast rich in protein. Sometimes sweetened with berries or honey, it was both comfort and fuel for the day. Number 27. Wild rice and cranberry pilaf. Wild rice and cranberry pilaf was a festive native dish that balanced savory and sweet in perfect harmony. The Ojibwe, who harvested wild rice from the Great Lakes region, often mixed it with tart, dried cranberries, and toasted nuts. Cooked slowly over a fire, the rice absorbed earthy, nutty flavors, while the cranberries added bursts of brightness. This dish wasn't just food, it was a celebration of harvest, community, and the bounty of the northern woodlands. Number 28. Hickory nut soup. Hickory nut soup was a rich, velvety dish crafted by southeastern tribes like the Cherokee. The nuts were pounded into a paste, boiled, and strained to create a creamy broth with a buttery flavor unlike anything else. Sometimes thickened with cornmeal or flavored with wild herbs, it was both nourishing and luxurious. Number 29. Smoked trout with juniper berries. Smoked trout with juniper berries was a delicacy among tribes living near mountain streams and cold lakes. Freshly caught trout was cleaned, rubbed with crushed juniper and salt, then smoked slowly over aromatic wood. The result was tender, smoky fish with a hint of wild spice, perfect for travel or feasts. Number 30. Roasted duck with wild herbs. Roasted duck with wild herbs was a prized feast dish among native tribes living near wetlands and rivers. Ducks were seasoned with sage, sweetgrass, and wild onions, then roasted slowly over open flames until the skin turned crisp and golden. The aroma alone could draw everyone to the fire. Served with wild berries or roasted squash, it blended savory richness with nature's freshness.